The member for Werriwa.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister for Urban Infrastructure. Will the government ensure that on the day of its opening, rail access will be available at Western Sydney Airport along the north-south corridor, opening up jobs, economic opportunities from the north-west to the Macarthur region?
The Minister for Urban Infrastructure.
Well, I do thank the member for Werriwa for her question, and I'd like to thank her for her work on the Forum on Western Sydney Airport, which is the community consultation mechanism we have underway to make sure that there is good community engagement in relation to Western Sydney Airport, a project which it took the coalition government to get underway, a project which had been in the too hard basket for 20, 30, 40 years, and it took a coalition government to take a decision to proceed with Western Sydney Airport, and we have made the commitment to invest $5.3 billion of taxpayers' funds to get this airport built and delivered by the end of 2026. Already there is work underway on the site with a high-voltage transmission line being undergrounded. That is a project of nearly $100 million. Already we have the head office of the company open and operational in the members' electorate in Liverpool, in the electorate of Werriwa. And of course, we have a $3.6 billion Western Sydney infrastructure plan involving the provision of excellent ground transport connectivity to Western Sydney Airport, including a new M12 that will run from the airport to the M7 and connect into the Sydney motorway network. And of course, the Northern Road will be upgraded to at least 4 lanes, all of its 35-kilometre length. At the same time, the two governments, the Commonwealth Government and the New South Wales Government, have worked well advanced on a scoping study to look at the rail needs of Western Sydney and Western Sydney Airport. That is reported to the two governments, and we'll have more to say in coming months. The airport, of course, on-site is being planned to be rail-ready, and that work is well underway. The Turnbull government is getting on with delivering—
The Minister will resume his seat. The member for Grayndler on a point of order.
Yes, Mr Speaker. It was a very precise, tight question, Mr Speaker, and it asked would the rail line be open when the airport is open.
Member for Grayndler can resume his seat. He doesn't need to disclose to me he was the author of it. It's not necessary at all. The Minister is being directly relevant to the question.
I do thank the Shadow Minister who never delivered Western Sydney Airport for that interjection. I do thank the Shadow Minister who was also responsible during that glorious period of Albonia. He was briefly responsible for the NBN as well. But I do thank the Shadow Minister, but more importantly I thank the member for her question. I do thank and acknowledge the bipartisan support for Western Sydney Airport and the extraordinary transformations that are going on in Western Sydney infrastructure. Of course, we have worked well advanced between the Commonwealth and the New South Wales governments in relation to a Western Sydney City deal. We have an overall comprehensive policy approach to delivering infrastructure for Western Sydney, as we are doing around the country. The Turnbull government delivering infrastructure for Western Sydney. We've got a track record that we're proud of, and there's a lot more going on.